a I'm sorry for what I've done, not a I apologize for making you feel this way. No, give me the ring back. What is up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's your girl JD here, back with another video. And as you can tell by the title, we are going to be discussing I was gonna say Love is Blind. We are going to be discussing the 90 Day Fiance Happily Ever After Season 7 Tell All Part 2. That was a mouthful, but of course I had to say the whole thing because I didn't want y'all getting confused, okay? We are back with Part 2. I watched Part 2 this past... I think it was a couple days ago. I think it was on Sunday. Now they have parts 3 and 4 out, so I need to go and watch that so that I can report back to you guys and make videos for those parts as well. Now, in terms of part 2, there was a lot that went down, but please do check part 1 out. Okay, check that out first on the channel. I'll link it in the corner here. But in short, there was a lot more going on between Big Ed and Liz than any of the other couples. Of course, they get into the other couples in this part 2, but in part 1, it was mainly focused on Ed and Liz. So let's just get into it, shall we? So we already found out that Ed was sending text messages to his ex-fiancee Rose, and we read those in part 1. And also, so did Liz. Liz and the rest of the cast of the show ended up reading it along with us, okay? We were like, all right. So there's actually receipts for Ed's cheating, and I would have to say that even though I find it very interesting, I'm not really shocked because I do feel like Ed has a type. And of course, Rose was Filipino, so she is Asian, and he was also found on an Asian dating site by Liz. So I think, you know, when it comes to Liz, it does seem as though it was more like a this is for fun type of relationship. It doesn't really seem like a I'm really physically attracted to you. But I think when it does come to the Asian women thing, I have to ask, like, you know, is it a fetish? Obviously, I know people are genuinely attracted to Asian women. I'm not saying that it's going to be a fetish every time. I'm not saying that. But I just think that sometimes it can be. So I just have to throw that thought in there because it has crossed my mind, and I'm sure it has crossed your mind as well. It's like, is it a fetish, or are you genuinely attracted to them? So like I said, we're pretty much to the point where everyone has seen his text messages. He's caught, and he's just in straight denial mode. And when Liz turns to him, pretty much says like, hey, so you've been caught, like, explain yourself, right? And he's just like, me no speak English. I'm like, Ed, that is the cringiest thing you can do right now. I know you're trying to be funny to obviously play into the whole denial, but it's like, sir, at this point, there's visible evidence that we can see on the screen and everybody's looking at it. You've been caught. Like, fess up at this point. And he's just like, I don't speak English. All right, childish as hell, but we're gonna move on, right? So Liz says she's tired of all the lies. And of course, Ed blames the cheating on the fact that they break up all the time. And I'm like, the fact that y'all break up all the time is usually because of you, I'm sure. Most of the time they fight that I saw on screen, it doesn't look like they were really done with each other until maybe leading up to that whole engagement party when she took off the ring and had that tantrum moment. I personally don't think before that they really had anything major that she was like, oh, I want to leave this relationship. I personally feel that the majority of the times that they broke up, it was because of Ed. I'm just saying, it was because of Ed. Like, let's move on here, shall we? He was saying that, you know, we break up all the time, so I wasn't even sure that we were together, and that's why I was talking to her. And I'm like, well, that's a BS excuse, but okay, sir. We'll try to give you the benefit of the doubt. Anyway, Liz pretty much turns to Ed and has this whole dramatic moment after, you know, like I said, he's in this whole denial moment. And she just is like, you know what? I don't think I have any more respect for you. I don't think I have any more respect, right? And Big Ed, in this moment, he chooses this moment, y'all, to tell her, okay, then give me the ring back. Not a, I'm sorry for what I've done. Not a, I apologize for making you feel this way. No, give me the ring back. Y'all, I was so close to flinging a shoe at my screen and I had to remember that it was my computer that I'm watching this on, and I don't want to damage my computer, but y'all, I was livid. And she actually gives him the ring back. I'm like, girl, no, keep that on your finger. Well, I would keep it on my finger. I'd probably just keep it, but I wouldn't keep it on my finger. I'd take it off and just rest it on the side of the couch there. But I was not giving it back to him. No. I think at the end of the day, like if they had gone to like court and stuff, I think she would be kind of ordered to actually give him back the ring. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I would just kind of keep it until I can't anymore, really. I'm just that spiteful type of person sometimes, especially if you piss me off. Like, what? And you embarrass me like that? Nah. So she gives the ring back, like I said. And everyone's just looking around in shock, gasping. And Andre is just like, so you gonna keep doing this ish? Like, what's the plan here? Like, y'all just gonna keep on with the cycle, the toxic cycle of y'all relationship? Y'all been broken up, back together, like at least several times over the last just couple of years. Probably only 2 or 3 at this point. Y'all been broken up at least 10 times, that I think Ed said. At some point, it's like, what are we doing, you know? So Andre is the most honest person on the cast. Thankfully, he opens up his mouth. And then, what's her face? Kim. Kim was basically like, nah, you're a D. You're a D. I can't say that word, but y'all know what I mean. Like, you're a D. And then Ed is pretty much trying to explain everything away instead of apologizing for being caught cheating now. This man's still in straight denial mode, trying to make it seem like he's the victim, trying to turn everything around on Liz and make it seem like she's the bad guy. And it's just like, please, y'all, please do not fall for this bull crap. Don't fall for this bull crap. Like, come on. He is so manipulative. It's like, ugh. Aggravating. They get into Michael's cheating. Speaking of cheating, okay, we move on to the next couple, Michael and Angela. So like I said, I think in our previous video, don't ask me which one because everything's mushed together in my brain now, but Michael was caught cheating on Angela, okay? Surprise, surprise. After so many times of being accused of cheating and her spending a whole couple $1,000s to go back to Nigeria to catch him cheating, yeah. He gets caught cheating in actuality. Somehow her friend is able, Angela, her friend is able to send her text messages and voice notes. And I'm trying to figure out, first of all, what type of friend you got to be getting voice notes that he sent to another person? Like, how did you get that? Unless the person that Michael's cheating with isn't that random of a girl that he said, you know, a random girl. It seems as though this friend might have some ulterior motives and might actually want to destroy your relationship with Angela. But anyways, we're just gonna move past that, right? So either way, the friend gives all this information to Angela. She has a breakdown, right? And on the show, when they're discussing this, she has another breakdown. But I never see any tears. That's what gets me with Angela. It's like she keeps doing like all this sobbing motion, you know, like, but I never see any tears leave her eyes. And it's like, where is the moisture? There is no moisture. Like, there's nothing welling up in her eyes. I'm like, what is happening? Like, okay. The entire time that Michael is put on the hot seat about the cheating, he just keeps saying, oh, it's okay, to Angela while she's crying about the situation. It's like, Michael, they're asking you specific questions for you to answer, for us to get to the bottom of why you cheated, who you cheated with, how deep was the relationship. Like, they're trying to ask these questions and he's just like, it's okay, Angela, it's okay. Angie, it's okay. It's like, Michael, get to the point here. Obviously, you already cheated. Like, she's crying because of that. Like, let's move on. You know, answer questions, right? But he never actually answers much of anything. He just says it was a random girl and yada yada, right? So I just find it interesting that he finally did what she was basically accusing him of the entire relationship. I swear, almost every time Angela would talk to Michael, she would be shouting at him, getting on him for his social media, talking about, you're cheating, I know you're seeing another girl. And it's just like, well, are you pushing this man to see another woman or what? Like, what's the plan here? Like, you want him to cheat? The amount of times that you talk about him cheating, it sounds like you want him to cheat on you, you know? So I thought she would have been kind of like ecstatic, I don't know, to finally be vindicated. Like, oh, he cheated, you know? But anyway, personally, because of all of that, I don't really feel sorry for her necessarily because I I feel that in their relationship, Michael was always talked down on. Like Angela, her personality, I think obviously plays a part into how she is and how overbearing she can be. But in a relationship, it's almost too much. It's too much for me personally. If I was Michael, I would have not married her. Honestly, I think he probably just did it for a green card at the end of the day, even though obviously he tries to make it seem like that was not the case. But really and truly, you know that this partner of yours is not the best and you guys are always fighting. She embarrassed you when she came to Nigeria. She came to your house that you and your family live in, and she's just screaming and hollering all around your house, ripping your car, trying to take the bumper off. I'm just saying, at this point, it's more so you just need a green card. You know, at this point, I personally feel that. Because who would stick that out unless there's like some type of prize at the end, like a consolation prize of a green card? I'm just saying, I wouldn't have, you know? But moving on to Andre and Libby. So Libby, I guess she got asked about her singing. And throughout the season, I think she kind of started talking to Andre about possibly going into singing seriously. And she started, I think, getting like instruction on it, like doing classes, vocal training and stuff like that. And I have to be honest, when she sang on the reunion, or the tell-all, sorry, I mean, it was okay. It was kind of cringy. Obviously, because she was singing like a nursery rhyme. She was singing, I think, Mary Had a Little Lamb or something like that. It came across as like a little too forced, like she was trying to force the vocals, and she should have chose a song that was a little bit more, I don't know, would give her a little bit more wiggle room to show off her vocal capabilities a little bit better, you know? But it was just a little cringy, I'm just gonna be honest. But everyone else, you know, of course, their fake self, they was like, yeah, amazing, that was so good. Anyways, y'all, they invite Libby's brother and sister. Charlie, I think is the brother's name, but I can't remember the older sister. But either way, that older sister that they invited on had actually got into a physical altercation with Andre. I mentioned that in the other tell-all part 1. And yeah, it didn't go well. Their meetup, basically. it ended in an altercation. So when they start talking to Charlie about his whole drinking issue, and I guess the altercation that they had in a previous season with each other, he tries to turn it all on Andre and say that Andre is the one with the drinking problem. He's the one with the anger issues whenever he drinks. And I'm like, okay, if I'm gonna be honest, Andre does not seem like the type of person that has anger issues when he drinks. I think it's more so he just has anger issues, period. Because even when Andre is sober, he's slightly angry, if we're going to be honest. So I've said this many times about Andre. I do think he definitely has some anger issues that he needs to work through and go to therapy for. I think that would definitely help him a lot in terms of problem solving when it comes to his feelings, whenever feelings arise and he feels like, you know, kind of shouting at people or cursing at them or telling them to F off and stuff like that. Like I said, I think he uses the F-bomb way too much. And I think that's what triggers people. But it's like he's so aggressive with his tone. And I think if he could work on that and work on his like anger issues overall, just managing those feelings and emotions, it would help him a lot. And also, I think ultimately kind of help to mend the relationship between him and Libby's family. And then eventually I think Libby would also get on board with trying to work out her issues with her own family, you know? But anyways, I do think it's unfair that they keep blaming Andre for all of their family issues because let's be honest, before he came along, they still had issues. They still had issues they needed to work through. So it's like, let's be honest here, you know what I mean? Of course, they would never admit that because they were the perfect family. Yeah. But anyways, y'all, so they turn it all on Andre as per usual. And Andre, I was actually very proud of him. He actually stayed kind of quiet. He let them talk and he was like, you know what, it is what it is. You think how you think, I think how I think, and we're just gonna keep it pushing. You know, eventually I think they will work out their issues, but the fact that they did run into that situation where I think someone had kind of maybe said something about him to the immigration people in the US. I keep forgetting their like actual like government entity name, but anyways, immigration. Yeah, so basically they had said something to them, and when it came to his green card, there was some issues. It doesn't look as though he had any issues with staying ultimately because, I mean, he's still in the US. He didn't get deported, so Yeah, but obviously they ran into that problem with him possibly being deported, so that was a little scary, right? Because of that, that was talked about in the tell-all, and they were kind of talking about how we would never do that, Charlie and the sister now. Like, we would never do that. Like, why would anybody in our family do that? Because that would mean we wouldn't be able to see Libby, because she'd be going over to Moldova, which is where Andre is from, to go live with him, because that's where he'd be getting deported to. So they wouldn't be able to see Libby or their kids, you know, Libby's kids. So I understand where they're coming from, because yeah, like I said, because of that issue, them not being able to see their sister or their nieces and nephew, yeah, that would make sense for them to do, you know. But ultimately, I do feel there might have been something between one of those family members. It might not have been a sibling, but it could have been a husband or wife or friend of one of the siblings that decided to say something. So yeah, but anyway, when it comes to Charlie and the whole drinking problem, you know, he was basically saying that ever since the wedding in Moldova, when he had that whole drunken speech, people were just calling him an alcoholic, and he wasn't. And I'm like, sir, if you are going to make a drunken statement at somebody's wedding, of course they're going to remember that, because it's their wedding, god dang it. Of course they're gonna have a problem with that. Like, are you dumb? Like, insert Remy Ma. Are you dumb?
Are you dumb? Are you dumb?
It just was so stupid to me. I was like, of course they're gonna have issues with you. You ruined their wedding. Like, anyways, child, we're just gonna move on. Ed basically, I think they were having a back and forth a little bit, because Ed butted into his conversation that he was having with Charlie. And Ed's just like, you don't understand because you're an idiot. And I'm just like, Ed, please shut the hell up, because you're in enough hot water right now with your whole issue with Liz and Rose, okay? Like, your little love triangle over there, like, I'm gonna need you to work that out before you could say anything about anybody else's situation for any of these couples. Shut the hell up. Please shut up. So what gets me though is that the sister does joke about having Andre sent back. She was like, oh, that'd be kind of funny. And I'm like, how is that funny? You know what I'm saying? But she kind of redeemed herself, because after she was just like, yeah, it was clearly a joke, but you know, it wasn't really received well. So yeah, I won't say that again. So she took accountability, but I personally feel that they have so many issues, like deeply rooted issues, that they need to work through at this point. Yeah, they really need some group therapy. Actually, no, individual therapy first and then the group therapy, because I think rushing into that group therapy was a bad idea. If y'all remember that episode, yeah, that was a bad idea, having all of them together at once. I think the family, like each individual needs individual therapy, and then just the siblings, and then the siblings and their significant others. So Andre would be in that one. I think having that be the steps that they should take in that order would make more sense, instead of rushing into group therapy. After this portion of the tell-all is filmed, they go get drinks, and Angela makes a toast. She's kind of already a little tipsy in my opinion, but then she continues to feel sorry for herself and her situation with Michael, him cheating and all that stuff. Ed and Liz eventually talk about their situation and everything that's been going on with them and their relationship. Ed was actually the one that had pulled Liz away to talk to her. And he was like, yeah, I feel as though if anybody's gonna have my back, it should have been you. Everybody was kind of dogpiling on me and you weren't there for me. Kind of similar to what Bilal did when everyone was kind of dogpiling on him a little bit and Shida was just agreeing with them. But yeah, it's with Ed, I think it was a lot more manipulative, because after he says all of that, he says, I felt like you were performing. I felt like you were performing, y'all. Ooh, child. Again, wanted to fling a shoe. But I had to remember I paid a lot of money for that laptop, and I need the laptop to edit these videos. So yeah, I was so pissed, y'all. So pissed. I was done with Ed at that point. I was done with Ed from when he was dealing with Rose in that previous season, but the fact that he came back with another chick, I'm like, how does Ed keep pulling these women? How? Please make it make sense. It's like, it's not like he's a millionaire, number one, and number two, he's not really all that attractive. Like, what are y'all seeing in this man? Like, I really would like to know. And then on top of that, number three, he's not the nicest. He treats his partners like crap. Like, I just don't understand. I really am not getting. Manipulation was on 10 and Liz just walks off. She just walks off, and I think she eventually finds Andre and Jovi. somewhere in the building, and they of course talked to her about the situation. Jovi's like, yeah, I wouldn't say anything like that to my partner or significant other. I wouldn't treat you that way, yada yada. I was like, okay, Jovi, you want her or something? You know, like, it was just kind of weird, but I understood where he was coming from, you know? And, you know, Andre is trying to say something similar to make her feel better about herself and her situation, but Ed comes along again. He basically talks to Jovi and Andre, okay? Like, y'all don't know what's going on, mind your business type of way, right? I can't remember exactly what he said, but it was on that type of time. And basically, Liz is trying to bring up the same thing that everybody saw, okay? Him cheating, the fact that he still has not apologized for that, okay? Still has not apologized for that yet. I just want to point that out. But she brings that up, and he's just like, I feel like you're still performing. You're still performing. I'm like, you know what? I'm done with this episode at this point. I am finished. Finito. And thankfully around that time it ends. But y'all, please check back with me. Check back to this channel for part 3. That's going to be coming soon. I'll film that soon, I promise. And with the same amount of energy and chutzpah, I'm sure, because it gets even crazier from here. I'm not sure how many parts in total it is still. Like, I really don't know. It just keeps coming. But it looks as though there's 4 parts as of right now. So, yeah. Keep an eye out for that, you guys. Let me know your thoughts on part 2 in the comments, okay? Because, ooh, I was livid. But I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace.